So, hi guys, you're watching United Rock Nations, and today we're with Urban Breed, the singer from Sirius Black, who are releasing their third studio album, Magic. Hi Urban.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm doing quite all right, and you?
Good, I'm fine, thanks. So, an album a year, what a pace.
Well, I think it used to be the standard, the norm. It isn't so much anymore, which is funny given that, we have technology today where you should be able to do more than you did before. But maybe I think this is the problem. You overdo it, you over-edit, you over-change everything, and then it takes forever. And in our case, you may think it's very impressive, but we are actually a whole bunch of songwriters, so it makes it easier.
All right.
Yeah.
So what kind of magic is it? How could you present?
Well, it's serious black magic, isn't it obvious?
Definitely.
What it is, I mean, you can try to go into the science of magic, which doesn't work unless it's sufficiently advanced magic science. Wait a minute, no, sorry. So what it is here is, it's not specified exactly what we're talking about, what kind of magic. This is unimportant because it is a fictional story, people. It didn't really happen, okay? But in some ways it happens. It happens to us all. We all experience loss and we handle it differently. In this case, Mr. Nightmist lost the love of his life, and he decides that he's going to get so powerful that it can never happen again, and maybe if there's a remote chance, then maybe he can undo what happened. That's why he sets out on his quest, and it goes on forever. He actually becomes very powerful, and he lives, across spans of generations. So this is when the letter reaches out to him. They have no idea who he is. They just know that he's this legendary, mystical kind of person that's got great powers. And so he decides to come back, and it's his hometown, and he knows exactly what's wrong because the love of his life was the witch that was burnt, and she cast a spell. It was your children, your children's children, and every child henceforth born in this town will be guilty of serious black magic. And the irony of this is, of course, that this is exactly what she was accused of. She was innocent, she was a town witch, but she was not dealing with black magic. So that's how it goes. And so now instead the person that accuses her, his children and his children's children and all the children around this in this town, they are instead actually guilty of serious black magic. And this actually happens. It starts off gradually, which is why it takes so long before they get desperate enough to send out the letter. And so this is the kind of magic we're talking about here. But there's also the magic that's insinuated, because it is life. Life is magic, It's and it's binary magic. It's either on or off, and that's what we're talking about, except in this case, because the witch is dead, but she's not really gone. Because she's still maintaining this curse so that it's running, and this is why Mr. Nightmist can come back and maybe possibly reunite with her.
Yeah.
And there are a few more things. If you want, I can tell you everything about it, the whole story through and through. So anyway, at this point, things are going so badly. What happens is that the children, they gain the ability to perform magic. And this is, of course, what happens in the song that we call I Can Do Magic. Surprise. So it's the children in this town. It starting with the children of the mayor, and it spreads out to become more. And the more children that succumb to this curse and then feed into the whole thing, the stronger it gets and the more it gets. And what it is, and this is why, and this is a little bit of the word joke we have here in the song title order, because it's I Can Do Magic, serious black magic. They come in sequence. There's a reason for this. So we have this going like this, and that's where it's going. And so the situation is really bad. The town cannot function. It's just ready for doom because so many bad things are happening all the time. And they send out a letter to Mr. Nightmist. He does comply, and he comes back. And he sets out to do one of two things. He will either try to reunite with the love of his life, or maybe possibly just banish her and set the whole town free of the curse. And so he begins this ritual, and he does stand all of a sudden face to face with the love of his life, the town witch. And now he's just like lost, because all of a sudden true love is blind. He cannot see that this is not, it is the witch, it is her, but she's been changed because it's been so long, and she's been, maintaining this curse, and that's not a good thing to do. If you're stuck on something, you hold a grudge, it will change you. And she is not the same person. He does not, of course, see this to begin with, because he's just so thrilled that he's back. he sees her again. She's there, and she looks just like she did when he last saw her. And as far as he can remember, this has been a long time. So anyway, so this is what happens. And eventually, though, we lead into, from True Love is Blind, we lead into the song called Just Kill Me. So if it's love, just kill me. Because he realizes that eventually he gets to see that, okay, so this is not what he pictured. This is not how it was going down. So he decides that despite the fact that he now has the power to just be with her instead and let the town go to hell, he decides, okay, I'm gonna have to make this sacrifice. This is not worth it. So he saves the town and banishes her and the curse. And then he steps out of this whole situation. He's decided to drop this whole old story, the old baggage that he has. It's gone. And then we lead into the song called Newfound Freedom, where he has a new lease on life because he can finally breathe. This whole burden is gone. And like with life, you've experienced loss, I'm sure. I've experienced loss, or any other hardship. So it goes, you feel like, okay, when you get rid of the problems that you have and you kind of accept them, life works and it's okay. But there's always something new coming. There's something waiting around the corner, something bad, something that you're not gonna like. You might need it, but you won't like it. And it's gonna happen. And so therefore we get in with one final song. And so it comes back to the fact that Mr. Nightmare takes on this role of perpetually saving stuff and going around, and it's not easy on him. So he comes back, he has hardships, comes back, hardships, and so that's where it goes, and kind of loops back to the first track again. So.
Right. It reminds me a lot of Terry Pratchett's books.
That is interesting because Terry Pratchett is like one of my favorite authors.
Oh, really?
But I would also say that I think I've said it today that, people ask me what my influences are, and I said, I love Terry Pratchett, but I don't think I actually draw anything from this, but maybe I do. I think maybe what it is the social commentary and the interpersonal relationship, because he does that a lot.
It does.
It does, but he does it in a different way, I think. I mean, I don't think, my lyrics here crack me up to the point where I can't continue listening. Whereas with reading a Terry Pratchett book, it cracks me up. I have to put it down and just walk away and shake my head and come back again and just go, this is awesome, and continue. So, yeah.
What other influences have you had for this album?
Oh, it's like the worst question I know because it's so difficult. No, it's a very important question, but it's difficult to answer because in general, like I said before, I've hinted at it already. It's mostly life. How I've lived, how you've lived. Not that I've met you until today, but I know that none of us has had it easy. If you've had it easy, well, then I won't meet you because you'll be hanging out somewhere in a world that doesn't exist. So everyone's got hardships. We all have these things that happen. There are some universal truths. I mean, I'm sure that there are examples of people that are the odd one out, like people that don't want to be loved. I want to be loved, damn it. Love me, okay? So now anyway, we all feel these needs, and we all have these things that we carry with us and everything like this, and it all comes in. And this is where I draw most of it from. And that's like, it's what happens. And if I can touch on that and you can understand that this is how I feel and you understand, oh man, he feels that too. That's exactly the same thing. He understands. I know, right? When you can get that, that's what I want.
All right.
That's magic.
Is there a specific band or song that has touched you so much that you wanted to recreate something but something?
I wouldn't say that there is something that made me go, oh, I want to do this too. But, obviously I'm a musician. So obviously the first time I heard music, I went, oh, I want to do that too.
Or
that's how it starts.
Voice, maybe.
So yeah, it could be, yeah, definitely. But I will say, that there are a few songs that, to this day, I don't think I can sing them because I will start crying. And it may not be what you expect it to be. It's separate lives, Phil Collins. That song, the live version on Serious Hits. Serious, huh? I see a pattern here. So anyway, the Serious Hits live. I love that one. I heard that one and I'm going like, I want to sing this song. Every time I try, I just break up and go like, this hurts. And that's, I don't want you to hurt, come on. That's not what I'm saying. I just want you to feel. It's important. And this is really what it is, yeah.
Talking about feeling the songs, is there a favorite one of yours on the album?
Yeah, it's a little odd because, intellectually it should be something else, but I think this also works on an intellectual level since I figured it out. So I think it's basically because I'm a singer. I really love the Now You'll Never Know and True Love is Blind, and they are very vocal oriented. So this is probably why I love them so much. But there are other songs that are absolutely fantastic that I love. Like I love all of them actually. But let's pick a few. Let's say I Can Do Magic. It's got this fun chorus that just comes out of nowhere when it hits you. And kind of low key verse, and then it goes like, "But I can do magic," and that's like, yes, that's perfect. And you know, so much the Serious Black Magic. I'm looking forward to singing that live. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to come, right? You're going to sing along, or you can sing it to me. I don't care. So it's just, there's stuff on here that's good. You know, I want to do the whole album. We're not doing the whole album this time because when we do the whole album, it's going to be the whole shebang with everything. We're bringing stage, you know, props and stage buildings this time, but we're not bringing a ton of actors or actresses and all that extra that would cost a lot more. That we don't really have space in the budget for that now. If we did, we'd give it to you for free. So, but there's that. You take the songs that we have, and I want to do them all. But right now, like, I'm pretty sure that we're going to do one of those two that I mentioned first. Probably not both, because you know you got to balance things out. Burn Witches Burn. Great fun song, and speaking of how songwriting works, Dominic had this old demo. I said it doesn't have a chorus, so I wrote a chorus for it, and we'll put that in there, and you had this together, and it's a collaborative effort, and it's great. All of a sudden it just works, and it seems like this was how it was supposed to be all along. It's like, it doesn't seem like, okay, that's a different writer. No, Dominic and I, we worked seamlessly. It's like, this is how it goes. So that's good.
You seem to have had great fun writing those songs.
Oh, it's fun, but it's also hell. There's a lot of high pressure, you know. If you're trying to do anything at any kind of level, and you always want to outdo yourself, if that's your drive, then it's really hard, because you're trying to do something. I'm always trying to do more than I actually can. And that goes for songwriting or anything else like it. So it's like, it's difficult mentally to get up and do the writing, because you're going like, chances are 95% that I'm gonna fail. Fail to do what I really want to accomplish today. Maybe I'll get to where it's really good, but I wanted it to be absolutely spectacular. You know, so.
I think Oscar Wilde said, "Reach for the moon and you'll end up in the stars." Or something.
Well, that's good enough, but you know, but then actually, if you reach for the moon and you end up with the stars, you got farther. that's really good. I'll try that one.
All right. So, could you tell us more about the recording process, maybe?
Well, the recording process is a little chaotic, because we're all spread out throughout the world. So you have guitars recorded here, bass over there, vocals there, but in the end, we know how to do it, so it's, you know, sorted out. But you know, there are always things like, for instance, the song "Now You'll Never Know." It was originally slated to be the bonus track for Japan, because as far as the story goes, you can lift it out, because it's more or less a portrait of the witch. That's really what it does. So you can lift it out, and the story won't suffer too much. I want it in there, but we could take it out, and we needed a bonus track, and so I left that for a little bit later. But of course, AFM got to hear it, and they said, nope, too good a song, put it on the album. And then the problem is, of course, that we changed the key, so we didn't have the vocals for it. So this is the last day of mixing.
Oh, wow. And
well, it's actually the day before the last day of mixing. So at around, I think it was around 11 at night, or evening for me, night for anybody else. So I go in and I start, okay, I gotta record this. So I take my stuff, set up my gear, and start tracking. And 10 in the morning, on the final day of mixing, I take my USB stick and I go into the studio. Here you go, the song and the spoken intro part to the to the album. So that was it. It was like, so then we had another problem. Now we had to record another track for Japan. It happens. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, and unless, sorry, yes, the format, which is a popular format for power metal genre.
Yeah.
Has it changed anything in the way you recorded the album from a typical metal album? For example?
I don't know. Well, with this one, we decided that we were gonna do it differently anyway. So, which is why we brought in Spike Striefkirk to do it. He's been working with. He's done some metal productions, but mostly other things. And we wanted to not do this So what's so typical for today's productions in power metal and metal, that you don't use the original kick drums, or at least not that much of it. You use triggers. And I said, we don't want to do this. We don't want to cut the drums up and align them perfectly on the grid. We want it to be a little open and loose. We want to not do all these things. We don't want the kicks to be like in your face. We go back, we pull it back and let it take a more, I would call it musical, as opposed to just rather percussive approach. And I think it worked wonders for the end result. I think it's a pleasure to listen to the album. Top of that, we also didn't want it mastered like a brick wall, so it is pretty heavily compressed, but it's done with such a great, such great skill that it doesn't sound like it. It's very pleasing to the ear anyway. You can reach for the volume knob and really turn it up, and it sounds better. That's how it goes.
All right, and it sounds definitely more melodic and more progressive than your previous albums.
Yes, but whether it is or not, I don't know. It's if you're saying progressive, we may have bits and pieces, but most of the bits and pieces aren't very obvious. They're cleverly disguised as just, here's a melody for you, here's a rhythm for you, and here's a harmony. Can you spot the tricky bit?
Right. And how do you divide the work among yourself? Because you said it was a collective songwriting.
Yes.
So who takes care of?
Well, basically, when it comes to the songwriting, it's just like you can write as many songs as you want, and you just throw them in the pot. Of course, in this time, we also had to make sure they match the concept. But that comes down to selection rather than, you're not allowed, you've written 3 songs, you can stop now. This is not the case. It's also stupid. You write 6 songs, you put them in there, and then you take that. So that part is pretty much unchanged. But then it's the part where you select things. Other things, it's a collaborative effort in the sense that we all get to put our songs in. It's also the fact that the drummer is responsible for his drum parts. So I can suggest, come on, can you play it like I did it on the demo? And he says, no. Well, there you go. There's no point arguing. I mean, there's a reason why we have a drummer in the band. It's because he's supposed to be the one that knows what he's doing. He's supposed to be the expert. There's a reason why I'm the singer. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. They're all wrong, but this is this is the way it goes. Okay, so I do know some parts. So anyway, this is how it works. So we put together what we have, and sometimes one person does more, sometimes one person does less, and this is not a problem, for as long as we all like what we're doing and the output is great and we get to enjoy it together. So that's how it goes.
What about the theme? How did you come up with that story?
Oh, what
inspired you?
Well, like I said before, it's really life. It's really like, the fact that we all experience these things, and then I just put flavor to it, So I put it in, I gave it the twist of magic. Because we normally don't have magic around in our household. Not me anyway. Maybe you have it in your kitchen. You can try it. But I don't have that as a tool, but he did. So, but we have other tools that you can say are the equivalent of magic. And even though they're not. But so you have this stuff. This is where it comes from. This is where the inspiration came from. I can't tell you that, I decided for him to be a mystic wanderer just because. No, that's just like I saw a picture in my head. And where it comes from, I don't know. It's probably just a result of everything I've read and everything I've heard and all the people I've met, And as far as The Witch, oddly enough, when we shot the video, I normally don't really, when I read the book, I normally don't picture people that specifically. I mean, I can read 4 books with the same characters in them, and I don't give even a thought as to what hair color they have. Yeah. Even if it's mentioned, I may go like, I don't care. So you asked me that, but oddly enough, The Witch steps up on the set, and it's time to shoot. I'm like, yeah, that's what she looks like. That was a lucky coincidence. Of course, that could be me, taking what I actually see and just imprinting it where I need it. Like it happens at any other place, and
So you said there are going to be props in your next gigs. Could you tell us more about that?
They will not be exploding props. You can touch them. So no, I mean it's nothing super big. We're not bringing Stonehenge in this miniature scale, even though that would be handy. Well, basically we'll build up a stage that looks a little bit more interesting than your average backdrop, and we're going to have some stuff with us. A little bit of maybe pyrotechnics, perhaps. A little bit. We can't use it too much everywhere, but I'll burn up my face a couple of times, so I'll have to wear a fake goatee.
And so you've got two gigs planned in France, in Nantes and in Agen.
Yes.
Not in Paris.
Well, this is.
When are we going to see you?
Well, I think what it is it's really just a case of bad timing with the dates, availability, and where we are, and what venue is, available. I strongly suspect that we'll be back and play Paris afterwards, before the year is over. So, but just to make sure, travel to the shows.
Definitely. To finish with, have you got something specific to say to our audience?
No, I mean, other than come to our shows, because this is really what it's. This is where I get my reward from the hard work. When you guys show up, and we can have fun together. That is what it's all for. Granted, you can make the argument that I love the art, and I do, and I love the album the way it is, and I do, but to really get the rewards from all the hard work, I need to see that in your face. I need to be there, and we can talk about it. Or you can talk about your grandma's dog that you love. That's also cool.
So come to the shows.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And see you hopefully soon in Paris.
Yes.
Okay.
With any luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Urban Breed of Sirius Black. You are watching or listening or sleeping to United Rock Nations.